Welcome to Your Signal, where we explore the stories, turning points, and defining moments that shape a person's work and purpose, and the signal that moves them to make a difference in the world.
Because at every moment we are guided by signals within us and around us. And when those signals are clear, aligned, and in harmony, we don't just move through life, we step into it with purpose, energy, and the ability to truly amplify our brilliance.
Randy, welcome. It's so good to have you here. You're a lawyer, a nutrition author, and a researcher of real food, and your goal is to simplify the way we eat. Tell us about this and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you, the lovely ladies, and the work you're doing. Really appreciate it. Yes, I have many careers, but for me, they fit together because I keep learning.
So the transition from lawyer to nutritionist, there was something that made you shift, that caused that shift. Can you share that with us?
Sure, yes. I think the biggest influence on my youth was the travel with my family. I was in 29 countries before I was age 20. And I saw that families everywhere had the same needs. So I thought, well, I'll be an international diplomat. And I thought it'd be great to be a lawyer. So I became a lawyer and I was working with a big international firm. Corporate litigation was the department I was in, and I learned how powerful corporations operate in our society in the United States. But I also got married and wanted to learn how I should be cooking. What should I be cooking so that we can live happily for 100 years together? And after about 6 months, I said to my husband, I think we have to start over again. What we're eating isn't good. All these ingredients are chemicals or refined foods. So we started over again. He thought it was a great idea because he'd been listening to me, thank goodness.
So what
So
does that mean? You started over again. You were focused on family now, on eating right. That's already a big shift. Most of us don't have that shift, right? And what is starting over? What did that look like in your fridge, on your counters, when you're shopping?
yes, well, my dad was a doctor, and I figured I can just figure this out. And so I said, let's start over again. Let's just throw out all the packages that have multiple ingredients in them and get real foods, fruits, vegetables, meats, fish, grains, beans, and
Any
seeds
meat?
and
Any meat or
nuts.
fish?
Yes, meat, chicken, eggs, dairy, but we got goat's milk, fresh milk, as close to nature as possible. And we didn't expect any changes, but both of us noticed changes. We didn't get colds in the winter. We didn't get dry skin. We didn't get as tired jogging. We didn't get sore muscles when we were doing a lot of work. So we thought, well, if this can do that for us when we thought we were as healthy as we could be in our 20s, um, then we should be helping other people. So what my moment was, I had been teaching law, and then I took a job with Philadelphia in environmental control, pollutant control, and I did a fancy lawyer study on that, the legal aspects of that. And I was driving home from that, and I thought, wait a minute, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old at home. You can postpone anything but love. And I thought, that's the name of my first book. So that was my
Brilliant.
change. It was in the car driving home. You can postpone anything but love. Love, you can't say, oh, I'll love you tomorrow. It has to be now. So,
So
so
what
that
shifted when that happened? You're driving home, you realized that. What shifted in your daily life with your family upon realizing that?
Well, I didn't stay for the second year. They wanted me to stay on at the
Uh-huh.
Air Pollution Control in Philadelphia, and I decided to write my first book. So I stayed home and wrote my first book. And my husband was a lawyer. He kept working, but he also did as much as could to be home. And we ended up homeschooling our kids. But meanwhile, I had people coming to me saying, I read your book, but I want to know how to apply it in my life. So I became a home-based coach to families. And I loved it because I thought, well, I'm starting where everything starts is with the kids. And you probably will have less litigation and less wars if you have a healthy, happy kids. So that's where it all came together. And so I've been writing books and coaching ever since. And I became a nutritionist and specializing in sugar detox and addiction to try to break free of the way that we're deliberately being manipulated so that we crave eating more. That's when the obesity epidemic started.
So you called it a sugar craving addiction, to break free of addiction, and you mentioned sugar in the same sentence. Explain that to us, because usually addiction we think of drugs or alcohol, and now you're talking about foods that we see and buy and are marketed to us every day.
Yes, what most people don't realize is that the producers hire chemists to figure out how they can affect our brains. And we now know from brain studies that the refined sugar, it's actually, it's a white powder, it's a crystal. It affects the brain the same way that opioids do. It lights up the dopamine and the uh, the reward centers so that we use it as a way to cope. If we come home from work, our boss got on us, we have a little extra chocolate or extra scoop of ice cream or make a big plate of pasta. And so we use this as the same way an alcoholic does, but it's more acceptable to be eating rather than over drinking or gambling. So it's a
Mm.
socially acceptable addiction, but it's very deliberate. There's plenty of evidence now that the companies are deliberately studying how to, they call it the bliss point, to stimulate the bliss point so that you will want to have more.
So, okay, so that's something we need to overcome because we're in the environment. But can we have like bliss points or feel happy and comfortable and fulfilled um in another way? Can you, like, you haven't been eating this food for decades. You look happy.
And that's one of the happiest peoples I know.
So
um,
explain
for
that. It
sure.
seems like impossible to us. Dichotomy, right? Explain that to us.
Well, the refined foods are uh, they're not nourishing our bodies. So our metabolism changes. So we start getting tired. We don't sleep as well. We have more moods. And we pick it up by eating more sugar, which makes all the food producers rich, as well as the chemical companies who are putting the chemicals in there to make it taste and look like food, but it isn't really food. So it's almost a spiritual transformation because you learn to be happy not because you're stimulating your reward system, but because you're doing good things for you, like walking, like swimming, like playing with your pets and your children, reading a great book, watching a funny movie. There's so many different things that can help build your healthy mood, other than the destructive chemicals that are in our processed food.
And Giovanna and I were both in the health and wellness realm too. And what I've noticed is that I want to be in the space that you describe. It's just a better place to be, right? And one only notices when you're out of it, when your system is shocked, right, by a soft drink or a soda or an overly sweet donut. It's like, whoa, that's like so much sugar. Um, we surely that like that bliss point must be a different setting, or how would you describe it when you're actually your body is thriving and functioning as it should be? Because we don't want to do something necessarily because it's good for us. We want to do it because we feel better. Would you say there's some truth to that approach?
Yes, definitely, Joanne. What happens when you break free of the highly refined foods that are they're just pure glucose and fructose, you
Mm,
you come to enjoy the amazing variety of natural food tastes and smells and the whole experience, and your body feels so much better. And that's what I focus on, is changing the diet so that your body is healthy and you don't even want the sugars. You don't even think about where's something sweet, or I need some carbs. You don't even feel that urge because your body is producing good energy all the time and burning stored fat if you need to between meals, so you're not snacking, you're not running to the break room to get some cookies or something. You're whole, and your body is an instrument for you. You love eating. I mean, I really enjoy eating, but and as a nutritionist, but I'm not even thinking about food between meals. It just never occurs to me to eat. I'm just enjoying what I'm doing.
so what would you say to give, a perspective for someone who's starting to listen and wonder, well, how long would it take to shift from that? How long would the process take to shift from processed foods predominantly to whole foods?
Great question. Great question. In my new book, I said 21 days. In 3 or 4 days, you may things may really dip because you'll realize how really tired and strung out you are. And you may have different symptoms because your body's shifting. But after 3 or 4 days, you're like, wow, my brain's clearer, my body's better, I'm eliminating better, my digestion's better. But to change your actual habits takes 21 to 30 days. And to really solidify your new habits, I recommend 90 days. That's been shown in other addictions to make new life habits. Basically, 3 months is a good goal. But it's the what we did in 1971 was basically cold turkey. We just got rid of all those things. We got rid of the white sugar, the white flour, the white salt, the clear oils, the white rice, and just got rid of the white things
Mm,
because they're all over purified and they don't nourish the body. You don't get the enzymes, the fiber, the minerals, the vitamins, and you don't get the right structure of the food that your body has evolved a million years to break down the food gradually because it's structured when we eat it, or it's supposed to be. But if it's all purified and thrown back together, it's much too much of a burden and strain on the body. So that will
mhm.
change. Within a month, you'll notice differences, and people don't realize how many of their everyday annoyances in their health, as well as long-term problems, are tied to this problem with the processed foods.
So how do you
Mhm.
encourage someone that's listening and wondering and it's like, can I do this? What are your words of encouragement? And tell us about your new book, because it deals specifically with this, right? The
Sure, yes,
single
my most
the single ingredient diet. What's that?
well, I woke up one morning. I do a lot of thinking in bed, falling asleep and waking up. And I was, what's the one thing I could say to people that would get them started really thinking about renewing their
Exactly.
health? And I thought the single ingredient diet, just choose foods that only need one name. They don't need a long ingredient list to tell you what they are. It's an apple, or it's a fish fillet, or it's a breast of chicken, or it's an egg, or it's a Swiss cheese. Doesn't need a big ingredient list. And you can make your own salad, and that's why I put a big salad on the cover. Uh, and everything in there is one ingredient. And then you put some olive oil and some apple cider vinegar on it. And just that's what my kids grew up on. Just have some nice protein food with a big salad or a soup, that you just throw real food that your great grandmother would recognize. That's the easiest thing. Only use foods that your great grandmother would recognize and have in her kitchen or backyard garden.
And no home baked breads or pizzas.
Well, you start with the single ingredients, a whole wheat flour,
Aha.
organic,
Okay,
and
great.
the tomato sauce. That's just tomato sauce, in a jar. Uh, and real cheese, not Velveeta or something that's all concocted, but real cheese that came off a big hunk of cheese. So yeah, and that's I learned to cook that way. Nothing comes in packages with long ingredient lists.
Hmm. So that's really the key. And after how many books have you written?
This is my ninth. I've written three parenting books and three books on nutrition, and we do so much travel. We had our cat dictated a travel book, so that's one of the funny ones. And I wrote a book for mothers who have lost their mom at an older
Hmm,
age. So just anything that can help build families is what I'm interested in.
so beautiful.
Mhm.
Randy, can you tell us how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, sure. The easiest way is just go to a website. It's Meet Randy. That's two words together, no period, and then period, randyrolfe.com.
Okay. Um, yeah. Are you open for a whole pizza, Giovanna?
Yes, I
Yes,
am.
yeah, my son uses the whole wheat flour and the tomato paste and grates the cheese, and and then you throw some herbs on it. It's delicious.
And it's surprising, like I think like your all of your senses wake up too, right? Your taste buds, your sense of smell, and there's a whole new appreciation for for all the foods that are available to us and that
Exactly,
serve
Joe.
us.
And I see that in my clients. They rediscover the joy of eating, because it's not just, oh, I need this, I need that, I need some more energy. No, you just sit down and with your family and enjoy putting it together. That's a great thing for kids to learn about good food. Just let them help. And
Hmm.
so prepare it, you're smelling it, you're touching it, you're seeing the structure. Yeah,
And there's
it's
a
about
delicious
learning
sweetness.
again to
It,
enjoy your eating.
there's a delicious sweetness in many vegetables.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, onions. I was noticing something the other day.
Peppers, zucchini.
Yeah, cabbage, if you cook it properly, you get sweetness. Definitely.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been delightful and
Mm-hmm.
delicious. We can already taste it all. So as we come to a close, Giovanna and I want to leave you with this thought about your signal and about the trillions of tiny signals that your cells, yes, the cells in your body, are creating and sending every second.
Because of these cells, your cells know when something is damaged, where attention is needed, and how to begin repair and renewal. At every level of our being, we are living from signal to signal. Within the body, these are known as redox signals, parts of the communication network that helps cells function, adapt, protect, and work together in harmony.
And so when we all begin to understand the role of our redox system, we're born with it and it's being multiplied every moment. And its profound foundational impact on our health, resilience, and longevity. And the very fact that your redox signals notice when food is coming in, and your redox signals actually recognize good food from junk food, from something nutritious, from something that doesn't belong there. And when the bigger and more abundant your redox system is, the better it can actually use all the goodness that you learned about today from Randy. And that has become our signal for Giovanna and I. When we learned about the foundational role in the body of these redox signals, we made it our purpose to share this newly discovered part of our body so that others, all of us, can become resilient and thrive, uh, just as Randy is describing. So we invite you to learn more about your signals for health in our Wednesday Wellness Workshop. We'll put the link in the chat. We'll also put Coach Randy Rolfe's link in the chat. And we thank you for joining us today.